Rich, you were here representing the funeral industry this evening. Is that correct?
That's right. There's a lot more dead clients in expungement matters than there are living clients.
I'd like to see how they sign the certification, but
That's why I always thought they couldn't do it.
well, that's the secret.
tell everybody, tell this Mishigash you were involved with, okay?
All right. I represented an individual who had a number of matters pending, and he was right at the cusp of being eligible for an expungement when he was arrested again for a disorderly persons offense and an ordinance. Up to that point, he had 2 disorderly persons offenses that were dismissed. By the time that he was eligible for an expungement, he was arrested again, and it was likely that he would have had to receive a conditional discharge. And while that would still possibly enable him at a future date to expunge things because he had no criminal convictions, this put everything on hold. Now, while the last 2 matters I was representing him on were pending, he hanged himself. Now, knowing that both he and his family wanted to proceed with this expungement eventually, when I heard about this unfortunate occurrence, I spoke to the mother because she had asked me whether there was an expungement proceeding that could still go forward. And I told her that I thought that there could, particularly because if you can expunge the criminal record of a corporation, it made sense to me that you can expunge the arrest of a decedent. But the problem, as was mentioned, was you have to be able to verify the facts in the petition and the statement accompanying the petition. So what I thought that I'd be able to do in that instance, and before I even mention that, there's a case in another county south of here where I had received a phone call from the attorney because he had to brief the issue. The judge hasn't decided it yet. It involved a case where the son had died, had a criminal record. The father had the same name, wanted to clear the son's name because everybody was mistaking him for his son. So I spoke to that attorney and I asked him, you know, how did you verify the petition? And he said, well, I had a representative sign the petition. And I said, okay. I didn't go into it any further, but knowing that the prosecutor's office objected, I know he didn't do it the proper way. He called and asked me for the brief that I filed, and another individual right after this called and asked me for the brief that I filed, and I said, I didn't file a brief. You know, this, in a way, I was disappointed that there was no objection from the prosecutor's office at all, because I thought maybe this might go up and it would be fun. But for those of you that do civil work, you know that in a wrongful death case, you get letters of administration at prosequendum from the surrogate's office. So that's exactly what I did here. I had to have the surrogate call me, though, because she wanted to make certain that she could grant the letters, and I said, well, as far as I know, you know, the statute says that there simply has to be a claim in order to have those letters granted. And she agreed with me, happens to be a female surrogate in this particular county. So I had the relative who wanted me to proceed with this expungement obtain letters granting her the administratrix at prosequendum, and she's the one that verified all the documents, and I attached as exhibits the certificate of death and the original letters, and it sailed right through. That's the secret, because while this was pending, I had been speaking to the assistant prosecutor who was handling this, and apparently all of the county prosecutor's offices have a listserv, and they communicate with each other, and this came up, and the case in the other matter that is being objected to by the state vehemently, talked about the method that I used and the reason why, as far as the state police expungement unit was concerned, and the reason why the county prosecutor's office and the county prosecutor's office, for their purposes, their concern was the verification of the signature and the documents that were attached, and that was missing from the other petition that is now being challenged. You cannot file a defamation claim on behalf of a decedent. I mean, there's no defamation.
So the utility here is really emotional more than anything else.
It's primarily emotional.
Which could be a big driver in terms of meeting the needs of your clients. If it's there, it's there. And who's to say? If your clients are satisfied and you're complying with New Jersey law, but there may be a market for this. You'll have to let us know.
Now, practically speaking, there are some difficulties because there may be difficulties in getting a criminal history if it is not readily available, either because the surviving parties are not good enough historians. So that's a potential problem.
Now, I'm a big believer in that you can never go wrong by showing your client the statutes.